was wearing some type of a mask or a hood.
The Golden State Killer. He murdered 13 people across California and committed rape over 50 times.
There was a man shining this flashlight in my eyes. He gags us, blindfolds us, ties us up with shoelaces.
By the time our patrol officer got in the area and started looking for him, he was nowhere around.
He would peek through windows while his victims watched TV, knowing that they were blissfully unaware that he was coming for them.
He would break into the house the night before. He would take their driver's license and he'd say, "I know where you live, I know who you are."
This was a criminal who went by many different names.
He was known as the East Area Rapist in Sacramento County, the original Night Stalker in Orange County.
Concern over rape is mounting in this community.
I live alone and I would like to learn how to protect myself.
I imagine a lot of women in the area are scared and are nervous.
Terror gripping the city.
I have a gun, but I still don't feel safe being, at home alone.
If you are going to defend yourself, you must injure your attacker.
This particular rape happened within 1 block of another rape.
A man stood up and said, "I don't believe somebody could be raped if a man was in the house." Months later, he and his wife were victims of the East Area Rapist.
The victim said that she heard him crying and saying, "Bonnie.
I hate you, Bonnie. I hate you, Bonnie," while he's sobbing.
Who is Bonnie and what's her connection?
Window number 20 reported that he had a small penis.
And still, nobody even knows what he looks like.
Everybody was a suspect.
There was nothing really, while he was working at the Auburn Police Department that would say that, he was a burglar, serial rapist, mass murderer.
Joe DeAngelo was settled right here in the midst of this, and nobody had any idea.
Police Department staff speaking. Catch me, East Area Rapist, you dumb fuckers. I'm gonna fuck again tonight. Be careful.
This is the story of the Golden State Killer.
In those days, the middle class in America was thriving.
We felt safe, but the crime rates were going up.
But suburban Sacramento was considered a safe place in the mid-70s.
You could ride your bike all over town.
My parents would just tell us be home before dark.
People didn't lock their doors, they left their windows open, especially people close to the river. We'd get the Delta breeze.
Everything changed in the summer of 1976.
My daughter came running in and said, "There's an arm coming through my window." And while I was calling the police, he jumped through the window. There's the window.
All of a sudden, this guy appears. He's got a beige ski mask on, he's got a t-shirt on, he's got a tool belt and boots, but he's not wearing any pants.
The rapist moved into Contra Costa County in October, striking 3 times in just over 3 weeks. Saturday night, he pried open the back door and entered the bedroom of a 32-year-old Danville woman. She was awakened while being blindfolded. She never saw her assailant. Police advise women to remain calm and not to resist. Authorities admit they still don't know an awful lot about the rapist, but each time he strikes, they learn more about him and the way he operates.
Well, I woke up to the sound of a man's voice in my ear. He tied my legs and tied my hands and gagged me with my training bra. He told me he was going to kill my family if I made any noise. Laying on top of the playhouse, he could see right into my bedroom window. Apparently that's where he was watching me or stalking me. 2 o'clock in the morning, our bedroom door opens and all I see is a flashlight.
He told us with clenched teeth, "Shut up or I'll kill you."
Residents are so horror-stricken, some women rent motel rooms.
They have many a sleepless night, and so after a few nights, they feel as though, gee, I really need a good night's sleep.
Just out of fear?
I believe so.
Suddenly, with no explanation, the attacks stopped. But police soon realized that the killer was still on the loose. The attacker had expanded his hunting grounds to Southern California.
So you see an offender that over the course of more than a decade, he's moving through the state, and at that point in time, law enforcement is not conclusively connecting the dots that this is the same guy.
Eventually, crime writer Michelle McNamara dubbed him a fourth name: the Golden State Killer. Then the break in the case came. In April 2018, authorities charged 72-year-old Joseph DeAngelo with 8 counts of first-degree murder. The investigators had recovered his DNA from the trash bin outside his house. Because of the statute of limitations, DeAngelo could not be charged with the 1970s rapes. But he was charged in August 2018 with 13 related kidnapping and abduction attempts. In June 2020, DeAngelo pleaded guilty to multiple counts of murder and kidnapping.
The chilling moment in the sentencing of one of America's most notorious serial killers, the sentencing of the Golden State Killer in California.
He was one of the most sadistic serial killers in history, even taunting victims with phone calls. He was captured living in plain sight in 2018.
Former police officer Joseph DeAngelo Jr. sentenced to life with no parole, confessing to 13 murders and more than 50 rapes in the 1970s and 80s.
In his sentencing, DeAngelo played the invalid, but in that jail cell video, he's stretching, climbing on a desk, the killer still trying to control the narrative.
I'm really sorry.
He broke into our home. He tied me up at gunpoint. He assaulted and raped Gay repeatedly. It was terrifying for me because I was totally helpless. I could do nothing to protect her. Joe Angelo is an animal of the worst kind. How the Lord could create such a horrible human being, I do not know.
And DeAngelo, I want you to look at me. I want you to look at me, DeAngelo, and I want you to remember what I have to say. Yes, DeAngelo, it's been 44 years. On October 5th, 1976, when you broke into my home in the early hours, just after my husband had left for work, and you shoved your knife into my neck, you bound my wrist and ankles, you blindfolded me, and then gagged me with a cloth. Remember that? But you also did the same to my precious 3-year-old son. How dare you? Then you repeatedly threatened to kill us. The fear escalated when you started tearing sheets and cloths, and I had no idea what you were planning to do with all that cloth. Strangle us, maybe? Yes, I was frozen in fear beyond description. My attention was not on the rape, but fully on where did you put my son when you removed him from the bed? Where did you put him? And what were you going to do to him? Yes, evil one, I turned my pain into power and my mess into a message by facilitating groups of women that had been sexually assaulted and volunteering at our Rape Crisis Center. All very worthwhile activities. Well, you know, a quarter of me, being a Christian, I want to say to you, may God have mercy on your soul. But then there's another 3/4 of me that just want to tell you, buddy, to rot in hell.